Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, I'm joined by Rocky Ray Hudson, former Spurs guy. Don't be upset. Former Newcastle player. Don't be upset at him about that. And Neil Barnett, a Chelsea man. So, but I think you're in good company otherwise. Go ahead, fellas. Open it up.
I'd like to start this show off by thanking Gareth first and foremost for that incredible contribution that he made to the hospital where he was born. Before we get into all the football stuff and your wonderful glittering career, Gareth, let's start with the heart, and let's start with what moved you to repay the people in the hospital where you were actually brought into the world. It was an amazing sense of humanity, and I want to start this show off by thanking you and setting an example for everybody else.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, I think everybody knows what a difficult time the whole world's going through at the moment. So yeah, I think yeah, we took our time to kind of do a little bit of research, look around, and yeah, we decided that we wanted to help, and yeah, we discussed it at length with Josh, my agent, my wife, and everything. So yeah, we wanted to give back to Cardiff, where I'm from, obviously to the hospital that I was born in, and yeah, obviously the local community there is important to us. All our family and friends live there. They've supported us so much over the years. I was born there, my sister's kids were born there, so yeah, they've done a lot for us, and it was just making sure they had everything they can possible or everything we can possibly do to provide to fight the coronavirus. And yeah, hopefully this will just help that and help us get through this difficult period.
Well done, man.
Well, let me ask you, how are you holding up, Emma and the kids, you know, during this crisis? What are you doing? You're watching TV, you're playing golf. What the hell are you doing with yourself?
To be fair, my wife is homeschooling our eldest, so she's doing an incredible job, because I've had a few hours doing it, and it is not easy, believe me.
Yeah, I heard one. Somebody said first day of homeschool, and the teacher was fired for drinking on the job. And I know how hard it is for mothers and fathers to try to do this. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, obviously I don't know how she's got the willingness to just sit there for 5-6 hours a day doing it with my eldest, especially when you've got two youngsters downstairs running around, and my eldest can hear them and she wants to run off, and yeah, it's a bit of carnage in the house, but no, we're obviously we don't want her to fall behind in her schoolwork, and so that is important, obviously, first and foremost. But yeah, I've been keeping fit, doing as much as I can, just doing a bit of running and in the gym and stuff. So yeah, just doing as much as I can to keep busy. And yeah, actually the silver lining is enjoying a bit of time with the kids and the family, because obviously normally during the season we're traveling every 2-3 days. We're home games, away games, in training every day. So yeah, it's been nice to spend time with the kids, and yeah, they haven't seen me keep going all the time. It's just nice for them to be here for a long period of time.
Are you working to a program training?
Yeah, well, the club are sending us kind of program, 2 weeks of programs every 2 weeks. So yeah, we're kind of sticking to that. You can kind of change it a little bit if you feel like you want to do a bit more, a bit less, or however your body's feeling, or whatever, what you like to do best. So yeah, we've kind of got a guideline, and yeah, just trying to do the best we can just to kind of tick over for the time being.
Neil, I had a great one. And Gareth, I saw a picture of fat guy sitting in a chair with a beer in his hand. And it says 2019, lazy bastard, you know? And same picture, the guy 2020, and it says responsible adult. I love it.
Gareth, I was in Montreal at the training camp when you were doing pre-season. And yeah, there was a lot of very arduous physical running there, and you were quite comfortable doing it. Perhaps a picture of you that people wouldn't normally think of you like that, but all that pre-season hard work, you just got on with it. It was easy for you. It looked easy for you.
It wasn't easy, not in the humidity there as well, but yeah, I think everyone knows going into pre-season it's going to be difficult. You kind of just go in with a mindset of you're just going to be broken, so you just have to get on with it. And yeah, but you know at the end of the day that you're doing it for a good reason, to get yourself fit for the season. And yeah, it's one of those things. Every player will tell you they hate it. So
how did a kid from Cardiff finish up at Southampton, which we all know has such a great academy, and it's not just in your era. I mean, it was from before you, with the Letitiers and the Shearers and the Wallaces, and since as well. I mean, they just keep bringing these kids through.
Yeah, so well, there was we had a satellite academy in Southampton where it was held in Bath. So we would train every Wednesday and Saturday in Bath, which was obviously halfway between kind of where Bristol and Cardiff and Newport, and kind of that area is to Southampton. So we don't have to travel so far every single week. So we used to train there. There'd be a big group of us training there on a Wednesday and a Saturday. And then obviously then we would meet up with the rest of the kind of academy that trained in Southampton on a Sunday to play games. So yeah, obviously by only Bath being an hour away, I used to travel there and back twice a week for training. So obviously the commute wasn't as long. So yeah, that's kind of how it worked. And at the time, obviously Cardiff were only a school of excellence, so they weren't an academy. So yeah, obviously academy is obviously the best thing to be, and you're playing against better players, better teams. So yeah, that's the reason I ended up there.
Well, let me ask you about those. When did you realize you were going to be a player? Like you were going to make it?
I don't think I ever realized I was going to make it until I made it, to be honest. Because I don't know, when you're going up through the youth team, yeah, you know you're good, but other players are good. You know anything's possible. Because I remember I had a coach when I was younger who didn't think I was good, and other coaches thought I was good. So it's like, it all depends on opinions. Like football, everybody knows football's about opinions, and one person thinks you're great, the other thinks you're terrible. Yeah. So it's also a little bit of luck involved in terms of you've got to have a coach that you get on with, I guess, when you're younger, especially. So, but yeah, even getting my call up to the first team, I remember I was playing well for the reserves and never even thought about the first team. And all of a sudden, I get told one day that you're traveling, you're in the squad, and I'm like, what? And just like kind of blows your mind. I never really.
It's great.
I was so much concentrated on the here and now and what I was doing rather than looking to the future, which I think for me personally, that was the best thing I could have done. So.
No, and it's a great point you bring up, and it's one I've always said. We had a former colleague of ours who passed away, Giorgio Canaglia, that grew up in Swansea. He actually was a great Italian national team player, played for Lazio and then the Cosmos here, and set all sorts of records. But he grew up in Wales, and you know, there's a certain humility there, I think, you know, and you know, the fact that you say, you know, you have to have the right coach, really. And I think that's underestimated because everyone thinks, all these guys are great. Well, of course, you're going to get a Lionel Messi, Ronaldo, somebody who, you know, bursts on the scene young, right? But most people really have to have that chance. And I think you've said it so perfectly.
Coach is massively important to how you play, whether you're young or old or wherever you are, even if you're a youngster coming through and you're under 10s. If you don't have someone that gives you that confidence and belief in yourself, then it's very difficult to kind of do it yourself in a way.
When you went to Real Madrid, it was a world record, Gareth. Why Real Madrid? Because you said before you were having a wonderful time at Tottenham Hotspur, and it was wonderful days for the club. But that clarion call from Real Madrid, why that club?
I think obviously I loved my time at Tottenham. The fans were incredible. The club treated me amazingly. And yeah, I was enjoying it. But I think as a footballer, when you feel like you're improving and one of the biggest teams in the world comes after you, you feel like you want to take that opportunity to push yourself, to test yourself. Obviously, I knew it was in a different country, which was going to be a different task in itself. But I think as a footballer, when you grow older, you set yourself goals. And I think my next target was to try and win a trophy and progress my career. And at the time, yeah, at Tottenham, we were really progressing. I think we were kind of the start of Tottenham where we were trying to get into the next level, which we did. And then it was, obviously then it took them a few years to get into the next level. And then Tottenham as a club have kept growing, which is fantastic to see. And I still think they are growing, especially they've had the new training ground, the new stadium, and they got to the Champions League final. So they're obviously doing fantastic. But for me as a player, I wanted to progress as well. And I think the next step for me was to take that transfer to a bigger club.
Can I just pick?
Let me hold on, Neil. What a quantum leap that is, lads, in time, isn't it? I mean, Gareth just mentioned there before when he was called up into the first team. And then years later, they're talking about a world record to go to Real Madrid. And that is stunning. How do you compute all of that in your head in terms of just how wonderful life is, how incredible the game is? It's pretty marvelous.
Yeah, no, definitely. And as a kid, you don't dream about becoming the world record transfer. You don't dream about becoming an amazing player. But I think for me personally, I've always had kind of my dream was to play for Southampton first team, first and foremost. I didn't look anything past that once I got the call up, and that was always my goal. And I guess for me as a player, I kind of, when you achieve the goal, you have to set your next one and your next one, your next one. They're all kind of like mini goals, and that kind of just kept setting my goals higher and higher through the seasons, through the years. Sometimes I might have had to have lowered them if I didn't have a good season. So it was one of those things that I kind of just kept my head down, kept working hard, and I think everyone says hard work always pays off in the end.
Can I just pick out two games at Tottenham that brought you to the world's attention? I remember in 2010, Tottenham were doing okay, going for a Champions League place, but not yet up there in the top four. And there was a home game with Arsenal, and you hadn't been playing. You were still about 20, but you've been there 2 or 3 years, mostly at left back. And Harry Redknapp, manager, ran out. I remember he ran out of central midfielders, injuries and suspensions. And he'd been playing Luka Modric on the left wing because he didn't kind of trust him in the hurly-burly of the Premier League midfield. But he had to put him into midfield. So he had to get a left winger. You'd mostly played left back.
That's right.
And we didn't know, the public, who he was going to put in on the left wing. And it was you. And the two of you absolutely destroyed Arsenal that night. Destroyed them. And the two of you stayed in those roles forever, for the rest of your Tottenham career.
Yeah, no, I remember it quite fondly. But I think I just remember obviously being a left back. When I was younger, I always used to play left midfield, and kind of when I was getting towards the first team and the reserve team, then I kind of went to left back. And then, by going to Tottenham, everybody knew I was a left back that just kind of bombed forward, and always my defensive responsibilities were kind of the last thing in my mind in a way. I was just so attack-minded. And we had a conversation about going into left midfield, and it kind of just felt right because I kind of relieved me of my defensive responsibilities, and it kind of just never looked back from there, and it kind of just gave me that freedom then to just go forward even more.
I won't go into how a couple of weeks later you beat Chelsea on our run in.
Go into it, Neil. Go into it.
Come on, Neil. Let's hear about it, Neil.
What happened, Neil?
He flipping well destroyed Ivanovic, and I've never forgiven him, and I don't like him, but I don't mind now. It's a long time. We won the double. It doesn't matter.
It's a long time ago now.
Tottenham qualified for the Champions League. They hadn't played in the major European competition since winning the league back in 1961, so 61-62. It was a major breakthrough. And for the other game I want to bring up, I've got to pass it over to Charlie, because of course absolutely. It was the Champions League. And go on, Charlie.
Well, I was there at San Siro. I'm a Milan fan, so you made me quite happy that day. And I have to tell you, it was the first half. I'm sure you remember better than me. They really had a great first half, Inter.
We did go down to 10 men quite early on.
What's this? What?
We did go down to 10 men quite early on.
Yes.
It helped because we're reigning European champions. So.
Yeah, well, it's true. And so look, but it was a match that Inter had dominated the beginning of it. And then all of a sudden, this kid, Gareth Bale, came out of nowhere. And it seemed like every time you got the ball, you ran by Maicon, who everyone, the Brazilian right back, everyone in the world said he's the best right back at the time. And here you come, this kid comes running by him. Each time it just hammers the ball into the goal.
And the Tottenham fans were singing "Taxi" for Maicon.
Yeah. Taxi for Maicon. It was really, I went to dinner afterwards with Cambiaso and some of the other guys on Inter, and they were saying that Stankovic and Cambiaso, I was at the dinner with them afterwards, and they were like, this kid is good. I mean, he's really good. And I was like, yeah, this is basically, he's a fullback. What the hell's he doing? And
and I'm 3 at the time as well on my back.
yeah. Well, so tell us, about that game itself. And I mean, it was really a coming out party for the rest of the world, I think, candidly.
Yeah, no, I remember being on the coach before the game. I remember speaking with Jermaine Genius and a few of the other boys, and they were like, yeah, Maicon's like the best right back in the world. People who played against him was like, oh my, like he just doesn't stop going forward, doesn't stop running. It was basically like me on the left, just constantly going forward. So, and I know me and myself that I wasn't good defensively. So I thought, if I get the chance to run at him, then maybe he's not going to have a chance to cope with me, because I never used to like people running at me when I was a left back. So yeah, I kind of just kept going at him. And yeah, I think once you kind of get the ball and you get kind of the better of someone, your teammates just keep feeding you, and yeah, you just kind of, your confidence grows. And as you said, that was kind of my chance to prove to myself that I could play against the best in the world. And yeah, I think that was a platform to build my confidence to kind of go to the next level as well.
It seems like confidence is such an important part of the game. And I always ask this to great players and managers. I mean, I always think that you need sort of different attributes. You need to be born with some certain skills, right? Obviously. And you need to have the right upbringing. You at Southampton seems like the perfect matchup. But then it seems like what really separates the players is mentality, and that ability to go out there and day in and day out, deal with the criticism, deal with the praise, deal with everything. How important is the mental part of the game?
Yeah, I think the mental part of the game, I think for years and years and years, it was basically nobody really saw it as, I kind of, everyone just put it to the kind of back burners. They never took too much interest in it. They thought if you spoke about your mental health, you were a bit weak.
Yeah.
So I think in the last maybe decade, people are speaking about it more. It's becoming more acceptable. People are encouraging it. So I think, yeah, it's difficult to deal with the pressure, the scrutiny, the bad things to do with sport. But I think if you're brought up the right way and you kind of don't get too much into it, then yeah, you kind of have to block the negatives. I think the main thing I always think as a player is, if you play on the pitch and you give your best, yeah, some days you're going to be bad. It's just natural. If you know you've gone on the pitch and you've tried, but you've played bad, but you get scrutinized, at least you know in yourself that you've given your best. And yeah, it might not have been the best on the day, but you've got nothing to blame in your mind. So that's kind of how I always look at it.
Your time at Madrid, who are your mates? Who are the guys that you feel comfortable with? But even more importantly, what managers have you had over the years that give you confidence, that you feel like this guy really brought the best out of me?
Yeah, I think in Madrid, I speak a lot with Luca, who I've been with at Tottenham for 5 years. I've been here now for almost 7 years with him. So yeah, obviously naturally I get on with Luca, and yeah, I speak with Tony Kroos a lot. I get on with most of them, to be honest, but especially those. But yeah, in terms of managers, I think for me at Tottenham, I think Harry Redknapp obviously was a good manager. Kind of just let you kind of do what you wanted on the pitch to get the best out of you. Andre Villas-Boas, I had a real good relationship with, especially in that final season at Tottenham, where he basically halfway through the season said, you can have the license to do what you want, go through the middle, on the right, left. And I felt that kind of bring the best out of me, because he gave me that confidence and that self-belief. And like I said before, and it just made me feel like I was just growing in confidence every day. I could score whenever I wanted. And yeah, and I think the same with Wales when Chris Coleman was there. It was a similar kind of feeling for me. And yeah, give me that, as again, that license to do what I want. The team was kind of built around me. And yeah, I feel when that happens, that really does bring the best out of me.
I'm not going to ask you your greatest ever goal. I'm just going to make you talk about the Copa del Rey final goal. This is, for anyone who hasn't seen it, this is Gareth Bale's greatest goal, whether he likes it or not. Go on.
No, I remember it. I remember having a very good game in the final, and I probably could have scored a couple of goals, but didn't. And yeah, I think I remember getting the ball and just seeing a lot of space in behind the player. And yeah, I know when I'm in a one-on-one situation and there's space behind, there's not many that are going to keep up with me. So it was all about just knocking the ball, getting around the player, and yeah, I think yeah.
And you ran off the pitch in order to get round him, not the
Yeah,
ball, obviously, but you did, and ran back on it.
Yeah, which as I said, as long as I can get around them, I know I'm going to beat them. So yeah, obviously it was a great goal in I think like the 85th minute, and in a Clasico as well, which obviously is even more special to look back on. And yeah, I think obviously that was the first of a few goals in a final, and yeah, one that obviously will go down in my memory as being a great goal, and one that obviously will stay with me.
I felt a little bit sorry for Barnett, to be honest, Gareth. The way everybody, I mean, there wasn't a player in the world. I mean, poor Mark Barnett suffered that indignation forever, and he's still got the albatross hanging around his neck. And what do you want the kid to do? Carl Lewis wouldn't have been able to keep up with you that day.
Well, was there great pressure at that game? Because Madrid hadn't won anything that season, and we all know when they don't win anything, the pressure comes on. And this was an exceptional victory.
No, I didn't really feel any pressure. I remember that Ronaldo was injured for that game, and I was playing up front with Benzema, and I had a bit more freedom. And yeah, and I think I just enjoyed the game, and yeah, I think I had, as I said, I had a few opportunities to score and didn't, but yeah, it was obviously worth the wait in the end. But yeah, I didn't really feel any pressure at that time. I was just looking forward to my first final for Madrid, and yeah, obviously we knew it was going to be a difficult game, especially against Barcelona. But yeah, it was obviously a great victory, and I think that first win then obviously gave us the confidence as a team to go and win the Champions League that year as well. So.
It was a great goal, Gareth. But Neil, you're way off saying that was his best goal. His greatest ever. Come on, Gareth. You know which one. It was against
Champions
Liverpool.
League final.
The greatest
It's
Champions
the greatest
League
goal ever in Champions League final history.
That's right, unquestionably.
That's all. Let's break it down to that. Walk us through that, Gareth. What were your thoughts? And I mean, did you think about it? And after you scored, did you say, well, that was cool? We had Marco Tardelli on when we discussed, we had a show on the 1982 and his iconic celebration. What was going through your head when you were going up in the air to scissor kick?
I just remember that, yeah, just reacting to the ball. I remember just looking behind me, seeing the ball drop into the net. And for that split second, it just felt like everybody was just silent in the stadium, and then it just erupted. It was just a slight millisecond. It was weird, but yeah, obviously, as I said again, a great memory to have. And yeah, don't get too much time to kind of reflect on things like that, because you're always going on to the next thing. And yeah.
Let me ask you, Gareth, on that goal, when I watch it over and over again, I think Marcelo, when he picked you out with that pass, had it in his mind, you know what, he could do it. I mean, do you have that, did you have that sort of wonderful telepathy with Marcelo in particular, who was at the top of his game as well? I mean, you made a good ball into the greatest goal, like Charlie says, ever in a Champions League final, bar none. But what was your reaction with Marcelo after the goal?
Yeah, no, I just in the past, he's always as you know, he's an attacking left back himself. He always puts great balls into the box, especially when me, Benzema and Ronaldo are lurking in the box. So he always provided that season great assists for us all. And yeah, he knows when he puts it into an area that we're all going to try and attack and trying to score. So it was just the perfect kind of moment, I think, in a final. And yeah, lucky I was able to execute the overhead kick, but
staggering.
We all celebrated the goal, and it was just obviously great to be involved in the whole thing, to be honest.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, you've gone back to Wales for the birth of your children. I don't know if every time, but certainly as much as possible. Wales is clearly incredibly important to you. And the Wales 2016 European Championships, I mean, Wales hadn't been to any finals since 1958, which even I don't remember. It was just such a wonderful journey, that 2016 journey. And again, for people who don't realise, it's worth saying, you played out and out striker.
Yeah, no, it was, I think going in, I think just the qualifying, we hadn't qualified. Actually, we haven't officially qualified ever for a tournament. I think the only time we got into the World Cup, we actually got placed in there because of a team dropped out or something. So the qualification in itself was kind of an amazing journey. We kind of had that snowball effect of just winning games, and even when we weren't playing so well, we'd nick a 1-0 win, and just grew in confidence as a team. And then going into the Euros, I think everybody kind of looked at us and thought, oh, they're a small country, we'll be able to beat them. They're not such a danger. And but we always believed in ourselves. We always had a game plan. We always had a way of playing, and we probably had the biggest team spirit of any team that I've ever been in and ever known of. We literally all got on with each other. There was no individual groups in the team room. It was just everyone together. And yeah, on the pitch, we defended as 11, we attacked as 11, and yeah, we just played so well in that tournament. And the fans were incredible at home and at the stadiums, and it was just one of those tournaments that fitted perfectly for us. And yeah, we were unlucky not to get to the final, but we had an incredible run, and yeah, obviously we proved everybody wrong in that tournament.
And so what's next now? Euro 2021, I guess it is now. You were gearing up for this. Do you think the year will help your team or hurt the team?
I think it'll probably help in a way, because we're quite a young team. The manager hasn't been in with us for too long, obviously Ryan Giggs. So yeah, I think if anything, it'll probably help us as a team, because as I said, we've got a lot of youngsters in there, and yeah, hopefully it hopefully gives us a few more games to keep practicing prior to the Euros next year now. And yeah, I think we're all looking forward to it like we were last time, and yeah, we're looking to do just as well, if not better.
The wonderful times that you have with the Welsh, with the national team of Wales, comes through. You seem as happy as you've ever been in any of your clubs, including all of them. But the Wales seems to bring out something special in you. But after that one game, when the banner came out, Gareth, how much did you know about it? The one that said Wales, Golf, Madrid, in that order. It was hysterical.
Well, I'd seen the banner the boys had showed me, I think, a few weeks before, or whenever it was, from pictures online and stuff, and we're just joking around. And a few of them were just saying after the game, if we do qualify, let's try and find it and bring it out. It's like, oh, do what you want, but I won't be going up to get it. But yeah, obviously they found it and brought it down, and we were all celebrating as a team. And like I've said before, like, I'm not going to not jump around with my teammates. Yeah. It was a bit of banter. It was a bit of fun. People can see it how they like, but
sure.
We were just celebrating on the pitch as a country to qualify, and just having a laugh. It was just one of those things.
It's been such a phenomenal time in terms of winning medals. You've won so many medals. How do you keep the hunger going? How do you see yourself moving on from here? And at the same time, are you a bad loser?
I I don't think I'm actually a bad loser, to be honest. I think
Terrible loser.
That was Joshua Barnett. That's his agent and friend, not Neil Barnett. Joshua, not to be confused.
Anyway.
Don't let him tell you he's not a bad loser.
Who told us they're a really bad loser the other day, fellas? Who was it? I can't remember.
Lothar Matthäus.
Lothar Matthäus said he's a very bad loser. That's what he told us.
Yeah.
Not too bad. If a team or someone beats me fair and square and has done well, I'm always the first one to shake their hands. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a bad loser. I was a bad loser when I was younger, but I think over time, with a bit more experience, I feel like I've mellowed down, got a bit better.
Gareth, what do you think of the MLS? You've been here so many times in preseason and stuff, and you're seeing you've played against MLS teams, I believe, here and stuff. So, what are your thoughts about MLS generally?
No, I really like the league. I think it's grown so much over the years, and when we come over and play them now in preseason, the games are difficult. The standards getting a lot better, and I think all the clubs are improving, the facilities are improving, stadiums are improving. So yeah, I think it's a league that's on the up and still rising, and I think a lot more players want to come over to America now and play, and yeah, I would definitely be interested in it. I love going to Los Angeles on holiday and stuff like that. So
what do you do there?
Play a lot of golf.
I was going to ask you, have you ever played Pebble Beach, Gareth?
Yeah, I've played Pebble a couple of times.
How does that rank with the best ones in the world? What's your best golf course that you love?
I played Cypress Point, obviously, which is a private members club, which is next to Pebble Beach. That was probably the best course I've ever played so far. But yeah, I've played a lot. Every year, me and my friends go and have like a golf tournament, or somewhere in America or in Europe, and yeah, we have like a bucket list at home and we try and tick all the courses off. And yeah, so that year obviously we played like Pebble, Spyglass, we played Torrey Pines, we played like Riviera. So yeah, every year we try and tick off all the great courses.
Has it been one of your teammates, and you can be as discreet or indiscreet as you like, where you've invited, come on, try it, you'll enjoy it. It's let me teach you a little bit. Who was the worst golfer that you've ever known? Come on now.
Luka Modric, 100%.
Really?
That is so funny.
We were staying in a hotel and there was nothing to do, and they had a golf course and a driving range there, and so I said to him, do you fancy coming down just to drive and hit some balls?
Right.
So I'm there just hitting loads of balls, and he's literally got a club in there. He doesn't know how to hold it really, and he's turned his back and God hit, he just hits the floor, missed the ball. And he literally, I reckon, hit about one ball in about 20 attempts, and he just give up. Because the next day, he comes down, he's like, my back is in absolute agony. He's not used to playing, but yeah, for sure, from footballers that I suppose he's never played for, which is I guess is normal, but yeah, it was funny when he tried to play on the driving range.
Magic.
Are there any American sports you're into?
I wouldn't say I'm into them like I am kind of golf, which obviously the PGA Tour, I guess, is in America. So obviously everybody knows I'm into that a lot, and I pretty much don't miss a tournament. But I do watch the basketball more when it gets to the playoffs. It's difficult because of the time difference. Games run really late over here, so it's actually difficult to really get into it. But I watch the basketball, I watch American football. They're probably the two that I do watch. But yeah, I think I watch the PGA Tour literally every week. So that's my kind of go-to.
That's your relaxation time. Gareth, cannot thank you enough. And I know we've taken so much of your time, and I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that Joshua made it clear you're coming to MLS.
Miami.
If anyone wants him, Charlie. Someone's got to want him first.
I think there might be a few takers, Joshua. I think there might be a few takers.
Whether we can make it happen is the big thing.
Yes, exactly. Well, listen, thank you so much, Gareth. Joshua, thanks for giving us your time too. Fellas, anything you want to sign off on?
It's been wonderful, Gareth, and good luck and stay safe, you and your family.
Yes, please.
And Josh, yourself as well. And let's all hope we get back to playing at the White House real soon, Gareth.
Yeah, all the best, and I've forgiven you for 2010 and that.
He hasn't.
Chelsea.
He hasn't.
No, I haven't.
I've always liked you. I have to close with one bizarre story that I had when you were guys still at White Hart Lane, and for some reason, I'm friends with Sir Alex Ferguson. I had never really met Harry Redknapp, and I ended up going into some little room that I remember was cold. All there was 3 chairs and a TV set. So here are these 2 great managers, literally. And, I'm interloping. I'm just sitting there being friendly, Hey, how you doing? Hi, Mr. Redknapp. Harry, call me Harry. Right. And so we're watching like a game, Stoke against somebody on TV, and your guys are going to play like in 45 minutes. And they're just sitting there talking, and they're talking about the teams. And Harry says, yeah, this boy Gareth can play. And Sir Alex clearly is thinking, maybe I could get this guy, and he's like, well, what's he like? How, blah, 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 blah. And he says, he's a good lad too. And that pretty much says it. You're a hell of a player, but you're a good lad too. Thank you, Gareth, for your time.
Thanks.
Cheers.